Excuse me. Welcome everybody to another session with the Investment Dominator. And today we're going to be taking a look at our Thursday session for a more advanced and deep dive into the Investment Dominator. So glad to have you guys joining on today. And hopefully those of you that watched these calls previously, you are able to see just the progression from our Monday calls to our Thursday calls. For instance, on our Monday calls, we just kind of go through some of the beginner methods that we have, which include the big three, and really just wrapping up your profile section, your company information section, followed lastly by your domains. So that's the topics that are gone over on Monday. And what you'll note from that is any available questions that are left off from that Monday that we don't get to, especially since we're catering more towards beginners on that Monday call. But what you'll see is that on this call, we'll actually do a deep dive onto some technical topics with the Investment Dominator and be able to kind of break those concepts down further. So again, thank you everybody for joining today. And let's go ahead with this presentation before we dive straight into the Investment Dominator. So again, this is just a session based on a full hour of all questions and answers. And we have come prepared with our answers, and hopefully you guys have come prepared with your questions as well. But you'll see here on your screen now just an option for you to be able to select the questions drop down within GoToWebinar, and also to be able to see exactly what we're beginning to work with. So thank you all for joining. Give me 1 second here. All right. Looks like we're up and going now. So just keep in mind that whenever you're working with the Investment Dominator, this LPG deal flow will be very transparent through everything with the Investment Dominator. With that being said, you really start off with you're selecting your target market, and then you're getting a list of landowners and filtering that list. Then the next step that you would go ahead and do is mail those letters and talk to sellers. And then next you want to do your research. So really you're progressing through all the milestones that are leading up to the main goal of being able to take these properties, the properties that you're buying from people, being able to market them onto your selling website, and then the end goal of being able to sell those properties and get paid. So really, just keep in mind that this is very transparent throughout the Investment Dominator, and that's kind of the goal that we're really aiming for to be able to accomplish. So you'll see here that on the left-hand side, you have your company information, county data, offer request, property details, task. So you have all this information on the left-hand side, and that's all information which you are providing. And again, there's different ways. So for instance, if you're using our data tree integration, some of that county data is just automatically input into your Investment Dominator. So again, we could break down those topics a little bit later, but just to kind of tell you more, all this is being input into the Investment Dominator. And what you're able to output are some great services. So you can output your letters, you can also do offers, you have access to your websites after you buy your 2 domains. And then you have your calculators and tools, analytics, as well as team management. So, we just understand that the Investment Dominator is a simpler process done by a team. So being able to really manage the amount of users or representatives that you have on your account can really just entail that your business moves along the correct way. So with all this being said, and really just encompassing all the data within the Investment Dominator, what we're going to go ahead and do first is just go into some of the concepts revolving around the buying site. And with the buying site, there's really a lot of features that are involved. So let's go ahead and let's go to customize first. And we'll go ahead into website settings buying. So what you're going to see here is actually there's a new theme that we have for the buying site theme, It's a new custom theme. Instead of the blue ocean and the red and black and the teal profits, we now have a theme called Land Gen. And the reason why I definitely want to highlight this is because we're really committed to adding more buying and selling websites to the Investment Dominator to not only improve the look, but to be able to further personalize all of your websites that, to best kind of put this into perspective, let's go over how you can download the new buying site theme so you can see exactly the changes that were done to the Investment Dominator and the theme that was involved. So just keep in mind that whenever we want to go ahead and search for a topic within the Investment Dominator, we go over here to the top right section under Help, and then you'll go ahead and see the second drop down, which is Search Our User Guide. This is really going to be your resource. Really, you want to think about it for everything with the Investment Dominator. So with that being said, just keep in mind, let's type in buying site here and search our user guide. You'll see that it opens a new tab window with our search result inside of our user guide here. So again, there's really just a couple of articles that have to do with customizing the buying site and working through with it. But the one that we're looking for specifically is this create your own custom buying site theme. So within this custom buying site theme, you'll see these three options, which we had mentioned before, but also there's another option here called Land Gen. And what this is going to do is right here, you'll see that, when I'm browsing throughout the article, my cursor remains a cursor until I go over the images here. And when you notice that your cursor changes into more of a pointer rather than just a cursor, then what you're going to go ahead and do is just click it. Clicking this pointer that's over here, what you'll notice is that it'll begin to force a download to your computer. So this download is the zip folder, which is required in order for us to go ahead and upload our custom theme. So just keep in mind, normally, if you didn't know the process as to how you can go ahead and upload this custom theme, it's actually on this article here. So again, the article is create your own custom buying site theme. And it really just walks you through the steps as to, number one, if you wanted to create your own theme, but two, how to go ahead and test and upload your custom theme. So this is really where you're going to notice some of these changes coming. So what you can go ahead and do is we'll show a live example of how we can go ahead and upload our custom theme that we just downloaded. So what we'll go ahead and do is we'll come to the management console here and just the Investment Dominator, go back to the Investment Dominator, and then we're going to go ahead to customize. And then on customize, what you're going to see is website settings buying. And then you then will have the option to be able to upload that custom theme. So you'll see here, upload custom theme. So now, right when you click on this, it should prompt you to your downloads folder. If not, just go to your downloads folder since that's where the file is located. And you don't have to do anything else. You just go ahead and select that zip folder that's already there. Go ahead and hit open. What you'll notice is you'll get a prompt that says your theme was uploaded correctly. So just go ahead and hit OK. And then what you'll notice is that the last step for you to do is to go ahead and select it. So Land Gen 5. We'll go ahead and scroll all the way down and we'll go to Update Site. So just to show you guys what we were talking about before when using the Investment Dominator and kind of using these custom themes, this is really the look and approach that we were aiming for and creating new themes for you guys to test out and use. So there's just a boatload of information kind of just browsed on this website, as well as you'll see your pages that you already created within your Investment Dominator are up here and located here. If you guys have questions about those, we can go ahead and browse that further. But the main reason that I wanted to kind of bring this up was because of a little bit of a mixed response. So with this buying site theme, we have noticed that we're getting good responses just in terms of having a new buying site theme and being able to update it. Now, one thing that we get asked in support a lot is if we can actually remove this video here. So not really too sure where this might be coming from or stemming from, but just keep in mind that once we upload these custom themes, these are going to be available to everybody. So everybody can technically manipulate the themes or take off anything or be able to just kind of browse and see how things can change. So since this is going to be an advanced session with the Investment Dominator, just keep in mind that if you aren't too technical, just really following along and being able to look at the recording afterwards will kind of go a long way in being able to kind of help you understand. But some things I want to show you guys is, let's say for instance you have somebody do you a custom theme, or for instance you want to just change some of the things on this custom theme. So you actually have the option, and everybody has this option. If you right click on the page, you'll see you're prompted with some things, and just keep in mind that I'm using the Chrome browser. So these settings are going to just replicate from Chrome. So if you're using Firefox or Safari or something else, just try to follow along as best you can. I still believe it's the same process no matter what. But let's say, for instance, some users want to remove this video altogether. They just want it completely out. What you can go ahead and do is right-click on the web page and go to Inspect. What this opens is that you'll be able to see all the items within the web page that you're working with, so that you can be able to either manipulate data or work with data and kind of just browse just along those lines. So for instance, what you can do is click on this icon here. This icon allows you to select any element on the page and inspect it. So right when you click on that item, for instance, you're going to see that whenever we hover over any item on our web page, it's actually going to pop up and it's going to display on this right hand section here under elements. So for instance, if we wanted to go ahead and remove this video, what we can do is find exactly where that video is. So we can see it here. So all I did was click on the element inspector and just kind of hovered around until I found this image exactly. And then what you're going to see is that you can click it and you can be able to see. So this whole element right here is that video. So potentially, if we wanted to remove that, we can just hit on backspace. And backspace will then prompt the delete, which we just saw here. So just some things to keep in mind. When you're really deleting that one spot, you may still have this item here as well too. So just keep in mind, if we go back to our site here, you'll notice that because I hit inspect and I edited some of the stuff that was already on the website, until we hit refresh, these changes will look like this. So just keep in mind that you have a get a cash offer for your land start here, but you also have, if you're interested in selling some of your properties, you also have this click option here. So there's really two spots. So if you wanted to remove both the buying site video and this text here and just kind of have sell your property for fast cash, let's kind of see how we can go about and be able to handle that. So if we right click and we go to inspect, again, we're doing the same process that we did before. So let's go ahead and locate these items. So first we have the video. And for instance, we're clicking on the element and all we're doing is hitting backspace. And then the next element here is this class. So you'll just see column MD6. We don't have to know, what this is doing. We just want to go ahead and remove these instances from our site. So we can again hit backspace on this as well. So the last thing that you're going to notice is that you need to delete this one bar, this one field that's there. So then the last thing for you to do is to just go ahead and come here and hit remove. So now all you'll see on your site is, if you didn't want the video there to be on your buying site, for instance, and you just want something like this, just keep in mind that that same prompt that we went ahead to remove with the video is able to be found if you just click right there. So then the user can enter if they're an individual, a company, their first name, last name, primary phone, as well as hitting next to be able to see what other options are available. So again, just keep in mind that this is how we're able to view the selected options. But let's say that we wanted to actually do this. We wanted to actually remove the buying side video as well as this text here. So the way that we can begin to kind of work through with this is just understand a couple of things. So remember, just keep in mind, let's see if I can pull up this article here. When we're working with our buying or selling website, we're going to need to use a code editor. And a code editor really, goes a long way in being able to view your code, but also being able to manipulate it at any time. So, without getting into too many, let's say, complexities, let's go ahead and see just how we can manipulate our site. So this custom buying site land gen theme. So remember that file that we had downloaded before? So we're going to go ahead and use that. But before we do that, I'm just recommending you guys to go ahead and go to Notepad++ and search that on Google. The only thing that you should be downloading is this program here called notepad++.org. This is the official site for Notepad and how you can, for instance, if you're clicking on the latest release, you can go ahead and just download right there. So just keep in mind, you'll go ahead and click on this right here. If you're a 64-bit computer or if you're 32-bit, I believe most Windows 10 computers are going to be that 64-bit, so you would download that installer there. So what you're going to notice afterwards is that you finally have a code editor so that you're able to, manipulate your code that you want to do. So let's go ahead and head back into our files right here. So now the file that we want to edit and change is this landgen5 zip. So the only thing that you're going to go ahead and notice is that this landgen5 zip, it's in a zip folder. And in order for us to open and manipulate any of the items in the zip folder, we need to go ahead and remove all the items out of the zip folder. So there's a couple ways that we can really do that, especially when we're trying to extract all. So for instance, if you're clicking on the file here and you hover over it, you'll see this extract all option. Go ahead and click that extract all option. It's going to ask you for a destination folder to go ahead and extract to. So we'll just do it straight from our downloads. So now what you can see here is that we have our file here. So let's just rename it for a little bit of clarity. And we could actually close this right now. And I believe this one right here, so let's call this one, let's see, landgen edit. Just for clarity's sake, so we know that what we're working with. And within that new file that we went ahead and renamed, so just keep in mind, all we did was take this zip folder and extract it to our downloads, and that went ahead and gave us our next gen edit. So now double clicking to open our next gen edit, what we're able to see here is all the files, which the custom theme reminds us, again on this page, on all the files that we need in order to have the site up and running. So just keep in mind of that, because you'll be able to just use that as a resource. But really, downloading that Notepad++, what you can go ahead and do next is you can hit Control-A to select all of the files located here. You go ahead and right-click that, and I do believe there should be an option for you to, actually, let's see here. We should be able to go to landgen edit here. There should be something that we can open it in Notepad++. So let's go ahead and see here. open with, open a new window, open. Let's take this index file here, and this is really the option that should pop up. So now, one thing you want to keep in mind is there's really a lot of stuff going on here, and I'm going to close these tabs that we don't need right now for this example. So when you first open, you just want to keep in mind of where you are. So right now we're in our downloads folder. We're under land gen edit, and we're editing the index.html file. So this file right here, this is the one that has that buying site video that we're going to go ahead and remove. So what you can go ahead and see is the code example here. So this is a more broken down version of the inspect tool that we were viewing earlier. So let's go ahead and just scroll down, since remember that video is all the way at the bottom here. And the video actually is this item here. And again, if you're asking, how did you find that, or how did you see that, what you can actually see is if we go back to our website, so this is the buying site, and again, we're going to inspect, right-clicking down to inspect, and we're clicking on this element so that we can view, whichever element we're hovering over, and we're going over this, and again, right there, so this is our column MD6, the homepage video. We're going to want to go ahead and remove this code. So within Notepad++, just keep in mind, you have this item here, which is a div, which holds the column MD6, which we're trying to delete. So the only thing you really have to keep in mind, without getting too much into some of the code that's going on here, is that really, a div is able to wrap around this element. So in order to completely remove the element, we have to remove this instant of the div. So you'll see the div opens here and the div closes here. So this is what we're going to go ahead and delete. So again, I'm just hitting backspace and it brings everything back down. So now, if we go back, let's go ahead and just reenact exactly what we did so that we can see. So on this column MD6 homepage video, we'll go ahead and hit backspace. So without seeing the changes that we made in real time yet, this is the best way to be able to kind of just work through with this. So next, we have this item which we need to remove. And I believe that's again an MD6, it's a column MD6. So let's go ahead and see back in our code if we can find another MD6, which is right here. So this one, you'll see if I click right on this div, you'll actually see all of the information right there. So by clicking on that div, I can see where it starts and where it ends. So just keep in mind that we're going to have to copy or hover over all this content here, and we're just going to remove it. We're going to just simply hit backspace. By simply hitting backspace, what you'll then notice is that all the code that we needed to go ahead and work with is now gone. So if we go back to our instance right here, you'll see over this column, we can just go ahead and press backspace. So now I do think it did change, but remember when we went over this example earlier, this little input here, sub property input, we want to make sure that form is gone as well too. So let's just make sure, let's go back to our code here. We want to just make sure that we deleted all the content that would be necessary for this. So hovering over this again, we have this form, and this form is actually in this class, and the class is called column MD12. So actually, all we would have to do is remove that div. So if we go back to Notepad, this will be the last step. So now we have this div right here. which includes the form that we want to go ahead and delete. So let's go ahead and copy or select all this item and then hit backspace. So now you'll see this is just all the code that we went ahead to go ahead and remove so that we can go ahead and update our site. So now that we've updated everything and we've reviewed it, really the result that we should get, and we'll go ahead and do this last step here, deleting that column. So let's view our website. So this is what it should really look like. Instead of having that buying site video here located right on your buying site and kind of showing you, now a user, whenever they want to go ahead and proceed through the process of putting in their information, they would just click here instead of having to see the video. So now you must be wondering, what do we do next in order to have this, within the Investment Dominator? So just keep in mind, there's a couple things that you need to do. So just remember to kind of pay attention, and also keep in mind that, this is all being recorded, and we'll be able to kind of walk through how you can review previous Q&A calls. So right when we're done making the changes, what you'll want to go ahead and do next is be able to save. So you can either come here to File and Save, or you can just hit Control and S. Again, if you're on Mac, just go ahead here to File and Save. And then this is going to be the new saved land gen that we had updated. So now we'll close this, and what we'll begin to notice is that we have our file here. So I'll go ahead and expand this fully. So when working with this file here, just keep in mind that we went ahead and updated this document, this index.html. So this index.html was last updated on 12:27 p.m. So right about a minute ago. These are some of the things you just want to verify before you go ahead and upload into the Investment Dominator, because it'll help later if you're trying to troubleshoot this yourself. So now what we need to do is basically take all of this information. So we're going to do Control A and select all of the information that we have here. Then we're going to right click, and then what we're going to go to is Send To. So since we're done making the available changes that we wanted to, the last step that we need to go ahead and process is converting our document from a regular folder into a zip folder, because that's the format that the Investment Dominator takes. So under the Send To option here, you can see compressed zip folder. This is what you're going to want to click after you select all of the content within this page. Right there, you'll see when I click it, it goes ahead and it changes the name. So let's say we want to call this land gen, or let's actually type it out, land gen no video. So this is our new zip that we're working with. Now, just a couple things to keep in mind. So I'm still working in my land gen edit folder that we created in the beginning. So this is all in my downloads. So just keep in mind, and just try to follow along. Again, just keep in mind that these are recorded sessions. But what we'll go ahead and do next is be able to actually upload this into the Investment Dominator. So I'll go ahead and click on this tab with the Investment Dominator. And first I'm going to go ahead and actually remove, I think that would be fine if I went ahead and removed this one. So just keep in mind, if you're ever making changes to one of your themes, if you have an old existing theme with the same exact name, it'll kind of cause a conflict. So we just want to remove that old theme that we had. So now we'll have the option here. So again, I'm in my buying site, and I'm scrolling down to select my buying site theme. And under Upload Custom Theme, we'll click on this. And if you're following along, just keep in mind that we went ahead and we called our file landgen edit. That was the file that we first changed the name to be able to go ahead and work with this. And under landgen edit, you'll also see the available times as to when it was last modified. So this is just some examples as to how we can further troubleshoot this. So now, once we click on Land Gen Edit, just keep in mind that we're not going to want to select everything like we did before. We're just actually going to only select the Land Gen No Video zip. When we do that, we'll click on OK and open it. We'll then get a prompt that our theme was uploaded correctly. So now what you should see are your two options. So if you already had your previous Land Gen here, that's all good, but our new created Land Gen with no video is really what we're going to be looking at here. So we'll go ahead and click this option, and we'll scroll down all the way to the bottom, and we'll go ahead and update site. By doing this, we're making the changes that we've made within the Investment Dominator permanent. Well, not permanent, but for the time being permanent. So what we'll go ahead and do is under websites, we'll go to buying site. So now, if this worked correctly, not only when you go to this menu, you'll kind of just see it still prompts you with that Land Gen, but also just scrolling down all the way to the bottom, we'll be able to see that we actually removed the video. So for those of you that are just joining in, we just did an example as to how we can remove some of the text off of our Land Gen, the new custom buying theme that we have here. And just to show you guys the changes now, so basically where you have your sell property for fast cash, instead of having the buying site video down below as well with the form, you can actually just have the option to or actually your prospects will have the option to click on that and be able to go to this form here. So let's go ahead and just show everybody who just hopped on how exactly it looked before. So we'll select the Land Gen that we first downloaded from our buying site custom theme, and let's go ahead and view that here. So this is what it originally looked like. Under your sell your property for fast cash, you had the video followed by get cash offer now option. But for some users who did not want that and just wanted the no video, go ahead and just work through this step there. And what you'll notice, if we update our site and we refresh, bam, completely removed. So depending on the audience response and depending on if you guys like this, we could actually just upload this as another theme option. So you wouldn't have to go through all the steps to be able to remove that last item off of your page. And this is kind of just showing you guys how we're planning to improve the Investment Dominator with the new websites. So thank you all for taking the time to kind of review that topic with me and just being able to kind of, let's say if you're not more of a technical person, kind of step out of your comfort zone and be able to just kind of just see the information that's going on. Now, as I did mention before, one thing I did want to bring up as well too is the fact of how you can review some of these videos. So this is actually a topic that was brought up on Monday as well. Somebody was mentioning about the live training calls and how we can review those sessions. So actually, sorry if that was a bit fast, but going over here to the help section and the first drop-down item here, weekly live Q&A training calls, you'll see you can sign up for your Monday sessions here as well as your Thursday sessions. But clicking here to review the replays of the previous live sessions. So there was actually an accident, and I do think it was partly my fault, but when we were updating the articles, it had seemed that from, I think it was the 29th to like the 26th, so sorry, the 29th of, is that July? Yeah, of July to August 26th was missing. And this was actually not intentional. I do believe there was just a tag that needed to be applied so that these videos do come up. But if you've missed these previous sessions that were happening with the Investment Dominator, please just review those. I know a lot of users do like to kind of just catch up on some of the training sessions and catch up on some of the new items that we are working with, which is why I wanted to take some time today to just dive into that buying site so we can go ahead and answer those questions. So for those of you that are new joining on as well for our Thursday session, what you'll see here is just a prompt so that you can send your questions. So if you have any questions at all to any of the information that was shown or anything along those matters, you can go ahead and enter that right into the question box there within the GoToWebinar. But yeah, so like we were saying, we're going to go ahead and update the rest of the videos and try to have that for you guys by tomorrow. And I believe that would include this video here as well too on the 23rd. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that content as well. And let's see if we have anything else that we can directly just kind of talk about. Since we're kind of diving into the advanced section territory on this call, and since we did a live example of some coding, which is great, one thing that I would like to go ahead next to talk about is Zapier. So for the more advanced users that are on these calls, we really have seen quite the response and when we're talking about Zapier. So again, if this is your first time even hearing what Zapier is and you're interested as to what goes on and what's involved, just typing in Zapier into the user guide, you'll be able to see some videos that pop up, or sorry, not videos, some articles that pop up, which walk through exactly how you can set some of these connections up. So for instance, let's go ahead and click on Zapier, how to connect the Investment Dominator to RingCentral. So really just being able to kind of just understand what Zapier is. At the beginning of every one of these Zapier articles, what you'll notice is that we have, this section here, what is Zapier? So just kind of breaking it down further for you guys, with Zapier, you can easily connect and share data to and from the Investment Dominator with over 2,000 apps. So really, this is a great program, and the Investment Dominator now, has, I guess, we now have a space within Zapier. Before, we had it as Investment Dominator as a beta account because we were beginning to do the testing with automation. But then we really saw how this can elevate your business to the next level. So actually just clicking on here to zapier.com/apps, what you'll see is that you have just a whole area as to seeing some of the apps that are involved, also seeing the ones that are new that are added or coming soon. And you'll just see down here, there's over 3,000 apps that you can really combine and work with together. And one of those apps is also the Investment Dominator. So if we go ahead and type in Investment Dominator, you'll see that we're now selectable within Zapier. So, without even having to know anything about Zapier, let's say if this was like our first time even looking at this, it's pretty intuitive in the sense that, all I did was type in the Investment Dominator, and then from that point, I'm able to see all of the types of integrations that can be done with Zapier. So just scroll down and you'll see you can search for a pairing app with the Investment Dominator. Now, one thing that you'll also see is that, existing services, I believe, that we have used with the Investment Dominator and what kind of apps, like all that activity is tracked within the Investment Dominator. Well, not within the Investment Dominator, but within Zapier. So the more that people begin to use this free automation tool, then, the more apps that you'll see here on this main menu that can be paired with the Investment Dominator. So for instance, some of the more popular apps that can be paired with the Investment Dominator include DocuSign, Google Sheets, MailChimp, RingCentral, which was that article that we were talking about before, Slide Broadcast, GetResponse, Gmail, Gravity Forms, and this follow-up boss here. And then just clicking over here on this side, you'll just see that we also have some other tools which may be even recommended to use with the Investment Dominator. So for just this instance and for this demonstration, let's go ahead and just kind of see and just scroll down and see what's next. So besides picking on an app that we want to go ahead and pair with the Investment Dominator, if we scroll down, you'll kind of just see some of the actions that can be done. So you'll see something like this: supported triggers and actions. Now, to a new user, you might not really understand, what's going on here, but basically, with an automation, there needs to be a trigger, and that trigger goes ahead and initiates an action. So for instance, if the trigger is whenever we're done with a call with the Investment Dominator, and let's say it has to do with somebody on our buyers list, we can say whenever that call ends, which would be the trigger, then the action would be to go ahead and update that record within your Investment Dominator, specifically in the Marketing tab. Now, if you never worked with this before, you may think that this, was not even an option. But clicking over here and just kind of reviewing this Investment Dominator to Ring Central guide, what you'll go ahead and see is that this is completely possible. So what we're doing is we're actually connecting Ring Central with the Investment Dominator. And we're saying that when this happens, when this call ends, then do this. And the then do this part is post contact. So once we're done with our workflow and kind of setting that up, then it's going to give us a brief overview of our goal. And our goal is to post a contact into Investment Dominator when a call ends. So just going through the article, you would be able to see that. So, instead of starting with the Investment Dominator, let's actually go back. Let's see if I can go back at all. Can I? Nope. All right, so what we're actually going to do is we'll close this tab. We'll go back to the Zapier, open it again. So now, instead of just starting with the Investment Dominator, just to kind of follow along with this example on Ring Central here, just to show you guys the actions, we'll start with Ring Central first as the integration, and then the search for pairing app is going to be Investment Dominator. Now keep in mind, the reason that we're changing this is because depending on how you set up these two apps to be positioned, right now we're waiting for when a Ring Central call ends, and then within the Investment Dominator, it'll go ahead and post that contact. So what you'll see down here is just kind of examples as to what you can do. And the one that we're working with right now is this. So call ended, post contact. So this automatically popped up when I went ahead to select it. Some things that you'll notice here is that there's a help guide as to how you can set up this app and begin to use it. And you'll just see it has just times here for the appropriate steps that you want to go ahead and work with. So really, the only thing that's involved with using automation and the Investment Dominator is being able to go ahead and use your API that's directly coming from the Investment Dominator. So you'll notice if I go ahead here and I hit build this combination, it's actually going to go ahead and tell you exactly how you can do this. So just keep in mind, guys, this is really a software that is pointed more towards beginners and not really being able to, not being too advanced technically. So don't feel like, because you're not really good with computers that you can't do one of these sessions, but being able to just kind of walk through these steps and see what's available will definitely get your feet wet and being able to explore. So now it's going to just ask you and make things a little bit easier on your part. It's going to ask you to link your Ring Central account. And if you've never done that before, you would actually, I do believe you need to just log in to your Ring Central account. I don't think this one's a little bit too much, but let's see on this article here. So remember, keep in mind that we have this article just kind of further break down this into easier analysis. And yeah, so what you'll see is that you just have to log into Ring Central, but when you're connecting your Investment Dominator, let's say if you're never done it before and you're doing it for the first time, we bring up this session a lot. So again, this is going to the Investment Dominator under the Profile section, and this is where you'll see these fields here. So API User Guide as well as API Credentials. Just keep in mind that all of this information here is sensitive, so you wouldn't want to share this with anybody else, but for demonstration purposes, this is where you would be heading. So you would connect with the Investment Dominator. Let's see, let's try this one. If not, we'll just go ahead and follow the article here. All right, so it looks like we're just going to have to follow the article. But basically, what you're going to go ahead and do is link your RingCentral account right after setting up this workflow. And then when you link your account, it's going to test your account right away. And you'll either get a message that says, we found a record. So for example, we're working with our buying site. No, sorry, not our buying site, our marketing tab. And it's going to go ahead and just see if we have any records followed with that field and information. And then it's going to ask us to log into the Investment Dominator to be able to post it. So really setting up your action is going to look like this, and you're just basically going to map through the process. So after you do that bulk of being able to link your Investment Dominator to Zapier through that API key, then next is just going to ask you to be able to provide a type. So since we're working with our buyers on our marketing tab, then we'll just select the option for 2. Once we do that, Zapier is going to then go ahead and ask, it's going to populate some information here. And depending on if you have a buyer under your account, you'll notice that you'll have the option to select this contact ID. Then the only thing that you would want to add next to that would be the first name, for instance. So you go ahead and just click where this gray area is and select on first name. So that's where you'll go ahead and process the first information. And what you'll see down here is that once you've properly identified all your fields and all your areas and kind of walk through this, then at the bottom it's going to go ahead and test exactly what's going on. So it's going to go ahead and test, number one, if this whole thing is successful and if you're able to link to RingCentral as well as link to the Investment Dominator and be able to populate that record. And once you're done, at the bottom you have this option to just turn on your Zap, so turn on your automation. Now keep in mind, when you're first using Zapier and you're working through with it, you have about 3 attempts at a Zap. And what that basically means is you'll have 3 instances where you can create automations for free. And after that, I do think you do need a premium account, but you can turn off any of your automations and turn on any other automations that you would have. So for instance, you can just switch off between a couple of automations and still be able to use the free account status without having to add any more money to that. So that's really how you can begin to see what Zapier is, what Zapier can do, and the possibilities that it can improve your business. So just keep in mind that we have these available articles, and just kind of walking through these. We do have Investment Dominator to MailChimp, Google Sheets, DocuSign, GetResponse, the email marketing software, as well as esignatures.io. So there's a ton of possibilities and really just a lot of resources here available for you guys. And if you have any trouble at all with any of the Zaps that you're beginning to test or beginning to work through, just know that we do help with that by submitting a ticket and submitting a kind of let's say, you could label it as critical or whatever you would want to label it, but really just being able to know that you have support along the way to back you up. It goes a long way in being able to help and perform some of the functionalities of these automations. And we really want to encourage those people, especially that aren't too technical with the Investment Dominator, to really begin to test the waters and see what you can do. So if there's any questions on that, we'll go ahead and break that down further. But what we'll go ahead and do now is go over some tags. So tags is another feature within the Investment Dominator, which should get a lot more attention. So the reason why I'm saying that is because, with these tags, there's a lot of areas where you can edit the tags as well as find some information that would benefit you the most. So keep in mind, there's a couple of sections where you can review tags in general with the Investment Dominator and your account. The first section that you can go ahead and view this is actually within the land section of the Investment Dominator. Going over here to reports, and under reports, you'll see property by tags. Properties by tags will go ahead and list every single tag you have with the Investment Dominator, as well as provide you with a number as to how many records are associated with that tag. So this is helpful when you're beginning to, let's say you have a lot of tags going on and you want to properly identify the records that your tag is under. So this is really just good for grabbing that holistic picture and that big level picture to be able to see all the tags involved with your account. So next, what you'll also begin to notice is that if we go back, if we go ahead to the customize section here, you actually have a whole section dedicated just for tags. So if you weren't aware of that, you'll actually see all of these tags that you've created as well here too. So the only thing that you want to keep in mind is these tags that have all been created are for records that, were even deleted within your Investment Dominator. The tags really don't go away, so that if you ever wanted to use them again, you can just go ahead and select that tag ID 2, for instance. Just to kind of put this more into perspective, if we go over here to the land section, and let's say I choose these 2 records right here, and we want to go ahead and add tags to that. If we go here, so view is the last option on this section here. Going over to tag, you'll see that if I just click over tags, I'm going to see every single tag that I've ever created within the Investment Dominator. So if, for instance, I wanted to use an old tag that I used before, let's say QA calls Thursday, one thing that I'm going to notice is that whenever I select a tag and whenever the tag is ready to be applied, it's actually going to turn gray. And it's going to populate underneath the tag section here. So just to kind of show you guys more, so I also recommend when the tags are created, delete this little icon there. And this is how you'll be able to create the new tag. So for instance, I can have, let's say, QA call, let's say 923, something like that, 923. So if I just go ahead and type in QA call 923 like so, and I hit confirm tag, it's actually not going to add the tag. What's going to add the tag is clicking on this little icon that you'll see here, this pointer. And when you hover over it, if you click it, then that's how you know your tag is for sure going to be involved right there. So I can go ahead and create that. And now I have these 2 tags on this specific record. So for instance, let's say that, now that we have this QA call 923, there's really no need for this QA call Thursday. So what we can go ahead and do is actually highlight both the records here, and we can go to remove tag. So then it's going to go ahead and prompt us and inform us as to what we can delete from the tag. So let's say, for instance, we wanted to go ahead and remove the Thursday. We'll go over here to 18 QA call Thursday, and let's just click on that little X icon there. So when you do that, then you'll get a new prompt, and it says these tags will be removed. You can see that the new tag that we also added on, QA call 923, that's not down here. So that means that we'll go ahead and retain this tag, but delete this tag. Go ahead and hit confirm tag, and you'll get a successful update, which shows there. So now just keep in mind that, when working through the Investment Dominator, if you don't see this tag option here, like I do on my land section, what you'll want to go ahead and do is remember when we saw view before here, go ahead to view, select it, and then you'll see an option right here on this third column here called tags. So for instance, I'll go ahead and save that and remove it. So this is what you might see if you're first using the Investment Dominator, and going over here to view and going over here to tags and save. Then now you'll have the tags associated with your specific records. So also just keep in mind that this does work in bulk. If you want to go ahead here, select all the records, and then let's say that we want to tag them and add that, I believe, what was it called? It was QA call 923. So this tag here, let's go ahead and confirm and add it. All right. So now the only thing that we did notice is that these two records do have a duplicate. So we'll just edit this one more time. Let's go to remove tag. So let's actually just remove this tag here, and then let's add it back. Looks like the information may have been conflicting. So scrolling down, we'll select 923 and we'll confirm the tag. So now this is all done and well. So let's say, for instance, we didn't know of a way to go ahead and delete these records the fastest, or delete these tags the fastest. Let's say this was all a huge mistake and we have this on, let's say 500 or so records. So keep in mind of how we went to the tag option before under customize. Go ahead to customize, go ahead, click on tags, and then now what we're going to want to do is actually go to the last page of tags, since this is going to be our most updated one. So we'll see the QA call 923 located here. If we go to right here and we select it, what we can then do is actually just delete the entire tag. So you'll see if you want to delete this tag, and we'll go ahead and click confirm. So now when we go back to Investment Dominator, that's a big way as to how we can deal with these records in bulk, and just being able to take, a task that might have taken 5 or 10 minutes or so, just kind of going through each page and deleting the tags, and actually just deleting the tags in one instance. So really just a lot going on this call today, and I do appreciate the people that are on, and just want to say thank you to everybody. And it's about 58 right now, so let's go ahead and end on a quote just to kind of wrap things up with the Investment Dominator. So the quote that I have here for today is from Ralph Waldo Emerson, and the quote goes, "Life is a progress, not a station." So just keep in mind when you're working through with the Investment Dominator, life does happen, and you may be making progress one week, but let's say the next week you're a little bit stalling and you're starting to kind of drop your productivity. So just keep in mind, if you really set yourself some micro goals and to be sending out those mailings and to be responding to offers, you really notice how long it goes down the road for you. The Investment Dominator and being able to use these processes and these tools is really a long-term method to success. So just keep being persistent and keep using all the resources that are available to you, and come with questions to these sessions, and we'll be able to provide this community so that you can really take off on the ground running. So again, thank you all for joining today for another session with the Investment Dominator, and we'll go ahead and look forward to seeing you guys back on Monday, where we'll go over the big three. But all right, I'll see you later, guys, and goodbye.